Welcome into the Kansas City Chiefs Report. I'm your host, Harrison Graham. You can follow me on Twitter at HGrahamNFL. More Chiefs news, nuggets, and training camp notes over there. Let's jump on into it. Could the Chiefs trade for James Washington? Well, a former Oklahoma State player like Washington thinks they should. Now, Washington wants out of Pittsburgh. One Dez Bryant says that the Chiefs should trade for Washington, who, of course, is entering the last year of his rookie contract with Pittsburgh. Here's Dez, a.k.a. Chiefs Insider, saying, James Washington, go to the Chiefs, game over, extremely unfair, but I would love to see it. We'll certainly dive into this one into further detail in just a sec, but just right off the bat, are you interested in trading for James Washington? Type Y for yes, type N for no. We kind of talked about this on our mailbag over the weekend, but we'll talk about it more today. Are you interested? Y for yes or N for no. Kind of like what I said then is what I'll say now. I'm just not that interested. I love James Washington in college at Oklahoma State. He beat his cornerbacks consistently off the line of scrimmage, had a lot of long touchdowns. That has not translated consistently in the NFL. In 3 seasons, he's been okay. He's under 500 yards a season on average, and especially considering 700 of those yards were in 2019, his other 2 years have been pretty pedestrian. Those numbers right there are like one elite year from a wide receiver, and he's done that in 3 years. That's not exactly overly impressive. Now, Big Ben's play has certainly dwindled the past couple of years, but I kind of think about, okay, let's say you do trade for James Washington. Where does he plug in? Tyreek Hill is clearly your number one. I think at this point, McCole Hardman is a better option than James Washington. Is Washington better than D-Rob? Is he better than Byron Pringle? Maybe, maybe not. I'm not really sure. You drafted Cornell Powell. Do you want to take reps away from him? Look, if you throw Pittsburgh a 6th or something like that, okay, fine, but I'm just not that intrigued with Washington at this point in his career. He had less than 400 yards just a year ago for Pittsburgh. He's been, their wide receiver 4 behind Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool, Juju Smith-Schuster. None of those guys are better than Tyreek Hill. I don't think that receiving core is better than Kansas City's. So what's going to be different here? Yeah, he'll play with a better quarterback, but will he get a lot more opportunities? Might get a few more, but I don't think it's something that the Chiefs should actively pursue unless the Steelers are just trying to get rid of him for cheap. So we'll see what happens, but Dez is clearly trying to get his fellow Oklahoma State Cowboy to a good passing attack. Hey, subscribe, join us. If we get enough subscribers on today's video, we will do a watch party on Saturday night for the Chiefs preseason opener against the San Francisco 49ers. Got to get 50-plus subs on today's show, so if you want to join us for a watch party where we break down every single play of the game, then subscribe and join us on Saturday. YouTube.com/ChiefsTV. Share that link with a friend and be like, hey, if he gets 50 new subscribers, he will go live for a watch party on Saturday. All right, I want to talk about the Chiefs' depth chart a little bit here, and I want to focus on Mike Hughes at first because the Chiefs did release their first unofficial depth chart heading into that game against San Francisco, and they have Hughes starting at nickel, who's performed pretty well during camp. Chiefs traded for him earlier this offseason, and now it appears that he could be in line for a decent amount of playing time. So I've updated my depth chart here to reflect what the Chiefs have put out. Snead and Ward is your outside corners. Mike Hughes is your nickel back. Fenton is kind of that CB4, which for whatever reason he just can't get on the field as a starter for Kansas City. Every time he plays in a game, he makes something happen. But Mike Hughes impressing in camp, and it looks like he's going to get the inside track, at least at first, to start at nickelback, which, hey, you trade for a guy for basically nothing and he becomes a starter for you, that's obviously a very good sign. We'll talk more about this and some of the other notable depth chart notes that I thought were very interesting in just a second. But first, hey, if you want to gamble on the Chiefs' first preseason game against the San Francisco 49ers, there's only one place to do it, and that is BetUS. Get a 125% deposit bonus at sign-up when you use our link. You got to use our link, chatsports.com/ChiefsBet. Plug in that promo code Chiefs125. That'll get you a 125% deposit bonus. What does that mean? Put down $100. They're going to give you 125 in free play money to go make some cash when you bet on the Chiefs throughout the season. And here are the betting odds for this first game. 49ers 2.5-point favorites in this one. The total over-under between the two teams at 36.5. So they're predicting a low-scoring game. It's preseason. It can get sloppy. That wouldn't surprise me. Chatsports.com/ChiefsBet. Got to use that link and then use promo code Chiefs125. That's going to get you a 125% deposit bonus when you get going with BetUS. Go bet on the Chiefs this Saturday night. Some other depth chart notes as we continue here. Lucas Niang listed as the starting right tackle over Mike Remmers. He was actually listed as the backup left tackle, Remmers was. Trey Smith is the starting right guard. He's had a great camp. I expect him to start, the rookie out of Tennessee. Dan Sorensen over Juan Thornhill at the other safety spot next to Tyrann Mathieu. Not a huge surprise. That's been the case throughout camp, and Thornhill got banged up again, so we'll see what progresses there. Willie Gay over Nick Bolton. The Chiefs depth chart lists two linebackers because they run a lot of nickel. Again, Mike Hughes, the starting nickel. And then Chris Jones actually listed at defensive end opposite of Frank Clark. We know he's going to play inside and out, but for the Chiefs to list him at defensive end, I found that very interesting as well. But I think the one that caught my eye the most continues to be Mike Hughes, being the starting nickel back for this Chiefs defense. And if he can come in here and be an impactful player, he was basically buried in Minnesota last year, and now he could come in and play a decent role here in Steve Spagnuolo's defense. Now, who do you guys think should be the Chiefs' three starting corners? Predict it for us. Right now, it's Hughes, Snead, and Ward. Would you rather have Rashad Fenton for one of those guys? Let me know. Type the three names of the starting corners you would like to see on the Chiefs' defense. Is Patrick Mahomes still haunted by Super Bowl 55? Well, Peter King did a little write-up today and spoke with Mahomes, who talked about this. And, yeah, he is definitely a little bit haunted by that loss still. And I think it's more of just how they lost, right? Like Kansas City not getting into the end zone, 31-9 loss. It's the only game in Mahomes' career where he's lost by more than one score, and they got blown out by 22 points. That's why the talk this whole offseason has been about getting back. They want to go 20-0. They have high expectations. They want to get back to the Super Bowl. Here's what Mahomes had to say. For us to go out there and not be able to get into the end zone at all, it's something that will kind of haunt me for the rest of my career. I believe number 15 is on a mission. I believe he's embarrassed by that game. I believe he's pissed off. I think he is going to go out there and have the best season of his career. It's why Brett Veach went out there and said, I can't have my quarterback getting killed anymore. I'm revamping this O-line with guys like Orlando Brown, Joe Thuney, and now Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith, a couple of rookies coming in there as well as Lucas Niang. So I think this offense is motivated. I think this team is motivated, and it all starts with Patrick Mahomes trying to flush this game away so they can focus on the upcoming season, because they don't want this to happen again. They don't like losing at all, but losing like this, that's an embarrassment for the standards that this team has created for itself since Mahomes took over as the starter in 2018. They have not been beaten like this at all. If they lose, it's close. And if they win, which they do quite a bit, they're doing the 31-9 type of games, not the other way around. So obviously it's a motivation factor losing that way in Super Bowl 55. This team is not used to it. They were a little shell-shocked in that game, but I think down the road it could end up paying off to being even more motivated this year as they chase that second Super Bowl trophy. Will the Chiefs win Super Bowl 56? Type 1 for yes. Type 2 for no. Hey, listen, I think they're certainly the favorites, and they certainly will have a good chance. So I'm going to be optimistic. I'm going to type my 1 for yes. Real quick here before we sign off, some notable injury updates. Darrel Williams, he's got a compression sleeve on his leg. Nothing too serious, it sounds like, but he's dealing with a little something on his leg. Willie Gay Jr. still in concussion protocol. Mike Remmers has a back issue. He is out. And then Laurent Duvernay-Tardif has a little cast on his hand, so we'll see what progresses there. Demarcus Robinson back at practice after leaving early on Sunday, so nothing major there. He's good to go. Same with Derek Nottie, the nose tackle for the Chiefs. he is back at practice. Both those guys left early on Sunday's practice, but they are back out there here on Monday afternoon. Predict the score, Chiefs 49ers preseason week 1. I want to hear it from you guys right now in the comments. What will the score be of this preseason matchup? Get your votes in. Predict the score of the Chiefs and 49ers.